Many older adults naturally begin eating dinner earlier, winding down sooner in the evening, and experiencing less physical activity during the day. These seemingly minor adjustments accumulate and can signal to the body that the night should begin earlier, which inevitably pushes the wake-up time earlier too. When your days become quieter, especially after retirement, your body no longer receives the same external cues it once relied on, like commuting, running errands, or engaging in mentally stimulating tasks. Without those cues, the body's sleep-wake cycle can begin to drift forward. A calm, dimly lit evening with minimal stimulation can cause your brain to produce melatonin earlier, inviting sleep before you've even realized the clock has struck 9 p.m. And once you're asleep earlier, your body simply finishes its rest earlier, waking up in those still pre-dawn hours, often right around 3 a.m. There's also a subtle relationship between food timing and sleep quality. Eating dinner early, while generally healthy, can sometimes lead to a dip in blood sugar levels overnight. That dip might not feel like hunger, but it can still rouse the body from sleep. Similarly, caffeine consumed, even in the early afternoon, can linger in your system. As metabolism slows with age, caffeine can subtly lighten your sleep and make you more susceptible to waking at any disturbance. Take Walter, for example. He's 74 and recently retired. These changes crept in gradually. His days became less structured, his evenings more relaxed. He found himself having supper at 5 p.m., dozing off in his recliner during the evening news, and heading to bed before 9 most nights. Without realizing it, his entire routine shifted a few hours earlier. Before long, he began waking around 3 a.m., puzzled by why he was wide awake before the birds even started singing. After reflecting on his routine, Walter began making small adjustments. A short afternoon walk, reading in brighter light during the evening, avoiding naps after dinner. These changes helped push his natural sleep window just a bit later, allowing his body to settle into a rhythm that aligned more closely with his ideal wake-up time. What's remarkable is how often we overlook the power of routine. Our bodies crave rhythm, daily patterns that act like signals telling the brain when it's time to rest and when it's time to rise. As those signals weaken or shift, the internal body clock can lose its bearings, leading to earlier and more fragmented sleep. But by noticing these patterns and making thoughtful adjustments, it's possible to gently guide the body back to a cycle that feels more restorative and less disrupted. Emotional and psychological restlessness. Sometimes waking up at 3 a.m. has less to do with the body and more to do with the mind. As we grow older, emotional layers that were once buried by the busyness of daily life can start to surface in the quiet of the night. These early morning hours, when the world is still and distractions are few, often become the stage where unspoken worries, regrets, or longings begin to stir. You may find yourself lying awake, not because of noise or discomfort, but because your mind is quietly sorting through memories, unresolved thoughts, or subtle anxieties you didn't realize were still with you. This kind of restlessness is different from the full-blown anxiety of youth. It's quieter, more reflective. It can feel like a soft hum in the background, a sense that something is unsettled, even if you can't quite name it. When not actively engaged, the mind often reaches backward, into old relationships, past decisions, losses endured, or words left unsaid. And because the body's no longer rushing from one responsibility to another, there's space for those thoughts to echo a little louder. Loneliness can also play a role here. For many older adults, social circles shrink with time. Children move away. Friends become busy. Routines change. The daytime might be filled with light and activity, but nighttime brings quiet, and with it, an awareness of that emotional gap. This kind of loneliness doesn't always feel heavy. Sometimes it shows up simply as a desire for connection, or a faint ache for someone to talk to when the house is still. Consider Gloria, who's 80 and widowed. During the day, she keeps busy, tending her garden, calling her grandchildren, watching her favorite shows. But around 3 a.m., she often finds herself waking up, her thoughts returning to moments she shared with her late husband or to quiet worries she keeps tucked away during daylight. At first, she thought something was wrong with her sleep, but over time, She came to understand. Her early waking wasn't about sleep at all. It was her heart asking to be heard. To support herself, Gloria started keeping a small journal by her bed. When she wakes, she sometimes writes down whatever's on her mind. Nothing fancy, just a few honest thoughts. She also added a quiet evening ritual, listening to soft music or writing a short note to a friend. These small acts of reflection and connection gave her emotions a gentle outlet, easing her mind and helping her return to sleep more peacefully. The human heart doesn't follow a strict schedule. It remembers what it wants to remember, asks the questions it needs to ask, and sometimes it does all this at 3 a.m. when everything else is quiet. But that's not a flaw. That's a sign of depth. If you find yourself waking up and feeling reflective, it might mean you're carrying wisdom that's ready to be acknowledged. You've lived through joys and heartbreaks, and those experiences shape not just your memories, but your very sense of self. Rather than seeing these wake-ups as something to fix, try approaching them with curiosity and kindness. What is your mind trying to tell you? What do you need to give voice to? What part of you needs a little grace, even in the dark? Sometimes, the most meaningful kind of rest comes not from ignoring these moments, but from honoring them. In doing so, you may find not only better sleep, but a richer understanding of yourself in this stage of life. Take a quiet moment now to reflect on what you've just heard. What resonated with you the most? Was it the shift in your internal clock, the subtle changes in health, or something deeper, an emotional rhythm that only shows itself when the world is still? Each of these 5 reasons offers a different lens through which to understand your early morning wake-ups. And none of them point to something wrong or broken. In fact, they reveal how deeply your body and mind are still working, still responding, still adapting. There's a quiet power in understanding what your body is trying to say, especially in those soft hours before dawn. Rather than seeing 3 a.m. wake-ups as a nuisance, you might begin to see them as messages, gentle signals reminding you to listen a little more closely. You're not alone in this experience, and you're certainly not the only one searching for answers. But with insight comes strength. And with strength comes the freedom to make small, meaningful changes that support better rest, deeper comfort, and a stronger connection to your own rhythms. If you've recognized yourself in any of these reasons today, know this: you're not just aging, you're evolving. And with that evolution comes the chance to rest more intentionally, care for yourself more gently, and greet each morning with a little more understanding and peace. If you're still watching and found this helpful, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Your support helps us continue creating content to inform and inspire. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.